Well, greetings everyone, and welcome once again to another Tuesday night here with us on the Coalition of Community Elevation. Um, Before I get into my monologue, a couple of, I guess you would say, great news for the coalition. We signed and picked out our first plot for the Kids Garden Project. So we will be spending the next couple of weeks cleaning up the lot, getting it ready for planting, and hopefully we'll acquire another plot alongside this one. And we're trying to work with a youth foundation that has a plot somewhat close to ours that may have fallen on some hard times. So we are making steps, and we are appreciating all of the support that we have been given, especially on uh, the internet. Tonight, I want to talk about the things that are actually happening around us. And somewhere along the way, power stopped listening and started daring us to object. Uh, our President Masada always kind of points this out, but we are told that this is a free country, but freedom now comes with fine print. You can speak until your voice gets loud. You can protest until it costs money. You can question until the question gets too close to the truth. We don't live under leaders anymore. We live under managers of compliance. Agencies lie and call it policies. Institutions fail and demand more trust. Corruption gets protected, whistleblowers get buried, and the public is told to calm down, be patient, wait, their turn is coming again. But let's be clear, a government that fears protests more than corruption is not stable, it's scared. When it becomes afraid to listen to the people, when the government decides to usurp the authority of the Constitution, and when the power gets scared, it will not self correct. It tightens, it surveils, it criminalizes dissent and calls it order. This is not about left or right. This is about who answers to whom. Because when accountability disappears, democracy becomes a performance. And when people become the audience instead of the authority, tonight we are not here to soothe anyone. We're here to ask questions. Power hopes you're not too tired to ask. But hey, let's get our panel up here. I see our president is here, Masada. Masada, how are you doing this evening? You're muted, brother.
Well, I said welcome. Thank you all for being here. I'm out here at my son's baseball game, but I'm still out here with you all, still on here. So welcome and thank you all for everything. And I agree with everything you said earlier, Brother James. I have no choice but to agree with that.
Yeah, I kind of took some of the words right out of your mouth, so I kind of made sure. um, Brother Gilead, how are you doing tonight?
I am good. I have no complaints, none that I will register at least. And we just marching on down the road, trying to make a difference. And good to be here with you brothers tonight, as always.
That's fine. You're doing it, brother. We all doing it. You're doing it. How's the weather out there in Atlanta?
It was right about 70 today, so I'll take that in early February, any day of the year, any year of the century.
It's cold out here
Especially,
today. It's like 50 right now.
wow, wow. Well, all right.
So, uh, Masadi, you're out there with your kids, and we always appreciate what you're doing. So today is baseball.
Today is baseball and basketball. They're in a cross season mix right now where it's basketball and baseball, and this is where my life gets hectic because it's all day every day. But I did go to our plot today, so everybody, that is the great news. We do have a plot. It looks good. We are adding a second one, so that is ours. We did a little tilling today with it. We got some nice greens that were left up there. We got some nice kale and some big plants. I took pictures of it. I'm going to post them on the site so everybody can see, and we're going to get things started rolling. I talked with Daniela today as well. So
Oh, very good, very good. Okay, so I'm kind of in tying this with what we were talking about down through the last few episodes. Uh, One of the things that we are talking about is who actually holds the power. Now, Masada, who actually holds the power right now, and who is
uh,
protected from consequences?
who holds the power right now? The true power, not the false power. The false power it seems like it's I would say America's president. Let me say that. But who actually holds the power right now are the richest families in the world and the richest people in the world. That's actually who holds the power. And then the American government, our fake democracy, is the puppets underneath them that has the second command in power. They're getting told what to do by the richest because that's what it seems like for America and what's been happening. Every bill that's been passed, or everything that's been going down, seems like it's been benefiting the top 3 or 5% of the world and nobody else. So when you ask me who's in power, that's who I believe it is in power. But who has the real power is the American people and the people of the world. We just need to realize that and stand up.
Brother Derek,
Uh, I
what you
really wouldn't argue with any of that, honestly. Um, it's that was quite succinct, and you know, till somebody shows me otherwise, I'll have to go with that.
um,
Yeah.
what happened? What happened, Brother Derek? You've been watching the government down through the past few decades or so, up close and personal. What happened? When did the people lose the power?
Hmm. That's a great question. Probably a very complex question. I think the people have had more power here in this country than than most, um, but certainly not, complete power. I mean, you think about the fact that President Kennedy, who I don't consider any saint or anything, but he was trying to move us back into the gold system, and the powers that be took him out. When Dr. King was seeking to call for a redistribution of the wealth and call for the Poor People's Campaign that began in Marks, Mississippi, which was symbolically but was certainly one of the poorest cities in the country. And that campaign was to take place just right before he was assassinated. And he was assassinated a year to the day before he called for an end to the of the Vietnam War. So when you're talking about finances. You're talking about, the big money systems. Then you become vulnerable. And quite honestly, I would never call for anybody's demise that way, whether it was somebody as despicable as Charlie Kirk or our 45 47. But, you know, everybody has to be careful, because if you get in the way of the powers that be, or you don't perform as the powers that be need you to. And I have a lot of questions about where this country is right now economically in that sense. So I think we're on a real watch just to see. But so it's been, I think, getting more and more, because what you're having, Brother James, is the rich are getting richer, and the middle class is shrinking, and the lower class is extending almost exponentially. And so, there's nothing good that can come out of that for the common man or woman.
Well, now, Masada, it's Brother Jerry brought up a term that I think is archaic: middle class. Well, I haven't. Well, I mean, maybe it's just my observation, but the middle class, as I know it, hasn't been around.
Don't exist anymore.
At least since the Apple phone. I won't say the first cell phone, but at least the first Apple, the first programmable computer. I will say, with the dawn of the computer age, also became the downfall to me of the middle class, because now you have the super rich, the super poor, and the working poor. At least that's been my experience. What do you think, Masada?
Yeah, I do believe that the middle class is no longer the middle class. Has probably been gone since the early '90s, maybe middle '90s, where we lost power and the people lost the power. People, they didn't lose the power. The people gave away the power. They gave away the power when they replaced it with entertainment. They replaced it with TVs in the homes. And then Brother Derek, I'm gonna hit you with this one. They lost it when I say the TVs in the home and things. When they stopped, and I don't come for me, church people, but I do believe in this. When they stop letting people eat at the tables like families, and they put the games in front of them and the TVs, and they stop having the dinners and stop having the family time, and even if that could with prayer, that's where the people gave us the power to certain then what's the next thing, what's the next news that we can talk about, like famous person. That's why we have the second or third president is a reality movie star type crap. When that type of things happen, then you're not going to have any more power to the people, because now people are chasing dreams. They don't even know it's their dream. They're chasing a dream that everybody else is living. Me personally, when they talk about San Diego, they talk about this, Brother Derek and all that testify, they think we're rich out here. I am living with this person. I have a great house. I have a great yard. I do what I want to do. The most I have to do is come to my kids' games. I wake up every day feeling like what I'm gonna do today, and I go garden and do other things. A lot of people get stuck and they having to go to work. They wake up, coming home from work, having to eat, and they want to reduce their time with studying. I gotta get on my iPad, my iPhone. I gotta get on YouTube. I even gotta watch my favorite podcast or my favorite TV show. There's no longer what can we do to teach. I was bikes with my son the other day, and an old white couple looked and they laughed, and the wife said to the husband, she said, "At least he's not at home with his kid playing games." And I was like, "Damn, so many other people like that. And so that's what we are, and that's what they have us doing. They have us eating bad food. They have us sexing, making all these babies, and they're putting in laws so we can't get abortions, and the poor people can't afford them. And so now you're just getting poorer and poorer because you're extending your family. They're giving you Medicaid and all this, but it's not helping you. It's keeping in the same system. And if you try to speak to people about that, they'll look at stupid, and you look at them like, how many people watched the Super Bowl yesterday? How many people watched Bad Bunny? I don't know who won because I don't care about that. I'm sitting there in my garden with my kids trying to grow stuff. So we lost it when we lost control of ourselves and we gave the government control. I know I did a long answer with that, but it's way more into that than I just said as well.
Uh, Good evening, Natalie. How are you this evening?
Hi, I'm doing okay. How are you?
All right. For those of you that aren't familiar with Natalie, this is Javon's mother, the prince's mother. I'm sorry, but so how are you this evening?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm actually on a working assignment. I just stepped out for a bit to talk to you.
So we were talking among us. When do you think that the people lost or usurped or gave away its power?
I grew up with a mother who always preached to me. She grew up. Her father was a CIA agent, and she always used to say, "The Russians are going to break us down from the inside." I think I can't remember. It's a famous quote. I can't remember the name, whoever said that, but so I've always watched that, and I feel like that is the truth. We're kind of the family unit has broken down. I think people are quick to get divorced. I agree with. Is it Masada, Mr. Elias?
It's Masada, and well,
Thank you. I do believe that when you don't value that family time and keep yourselves together, you break down the strength. When you have strong families, you've got power. You can talk about things, you can come in force. And when you break it down, we lose our power. So, and I definitely think right now it's, people with money, people who are afraid of people with money. I think there's two sides, people that make decisions on, and people make the decisions on hope and promise and possibility. And we're being run by the group that runs on fear and greed. So, and that's a breakdown of the family as well. So.
I would like to touch on that. What you said with to expand on that, it goes into things like this with kids and all. You're teaching your kids some value. You're teaching them that it's about character and not money. They're getting taught by the outside system that go get money, go get money, go get money, and so they're not listening to you no more because you're in that money value too. We got to go do this. We got to go do that. When I grew up off of, like Martin Luther King said, the character makes a man. I don't care who you are, what your status is. I need to know who you are, and that's how I try to teach my kids. But if you look at the world, the music, the food, the entertainment, anything you want to think of tells people to go and to be somebody you got to have something, and to have something is not have something inside. They don't preach have something inside you anymore or teach it. They tell you everything is exterior, everything is an external force, and so that's what we're growing off of, and we don't even have it. I see people nowadays that won't even want to get a apartment, let alone a house, and then they have a $500 shoes on, and I'm looking at them laughing. I have two vehicles that are paid off, and people are telling me they're old, and I'm like, well, I ain't struggling with no $800 car note. So what does that matter? I have a vehicle to ride in, and my boys are looking forward to those vehicles, while other people are like, oh, I want the new whatever, and I'm like, we talked to our kids about phones today. I have an iPhone 16. Unfortunately, I have to upgrade. When I got it about 6 months ago. It's an iPhone 17 now, and our kids are like, why? And we're like, just to get people to buy stuff. You don't have to get a new phone every second, but if you look around, people will tell you or try to make you feel bad for not having the latest stuff because everybody's trying to keep up with the Joneses instead of keeping up with themselves and be who they are.
Definitely agree. But actually, the reason why I really wanted the three of you on the show together is because of some of your commonalities and some of your differences. Now, Masada, you're in a mixed relationship, and you are raising three sons, 7-year-old twins and a 10-year-old pre-adolescent. Uh, Brother Derek, your son is grown in the ministry, but we have all seen that the cloth does not really protect you. Uh,
Unfortunately.
Natalie, you have three children, two girls and a boy. We've all met Javon, so we know about the appearance of your particular children. So, uh, as Javon mentioned the other day, if he walked out in the street with a different head rag on, he would look or be conceived as somebody completely different. So I want to kind of bring in the contrast. Natalie, two of your children are actively involved in protests. Your oldest daughter, that's how we met, actually talking about your children, your oldest daughter being at UC Berkeley, and how she's was part of the activist movement. And then you have Javon. Javon is a young man that is growing up here in Southern California. And as I said, at any particular time, he could be mistaken for any number of possible victims of ICE. So I'm going to start with you as a mother. How do you feel when you see the way things have played out in the different cities, Chicago, uh, DC, LA? Uh, how do you feel as a mother when you know that your children are actively participating in some of these protests?
Mm. Um, I definitely don't parent with fear. So I want them to protest. I want them to stand up and speak out. I think that's the only way we get anything changed. Um, Javon did do a protest by himself, and that made me a little nervous. I feel like he should be with somebody. He was with a group of people protesting, but then we started having the conversation of use a Sharpie and put my phone number on your arm or something, because there's risk of them going out there and protesting. They've been protesting since the day after the first Trump inauguration. I took the girls to Pershing Square in Los Angeles and marched with about 1 million other people. And that was their first exposure. And ever since then, they just took the ball and, they've protested for a lot of things. But I'm more nervous about other things. I don't feel, especially here in California, I feel like the protesters maybe are a little bit safer. I don't know if that's a fake safety feeling. I do think my kids know how to conduct themselves. Juliana's over in Boston. She's at Harvard now, and they have a little more violence over there in their protests. So, and she would be that person that stands in the front line to protest. So she makes me a little nervous. But I support it. I can't not support it. That's the only thing. That's the only way we're going to make change. So,
Masada, how do you feel as the father of young black men that have also, like Javon, could possibly be, be taken for Mexican or some other
A
possible.
target. Just say a target. They can be labeled as a target.
yeah.
Hello? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, first I want to give Javon mom. What was your name again?
Natalie.
Natalie.
Yeah.
yeah, I would like to give you all kudos and everything for having your kids out there, having them marching, and I know it has to worry you. I was out there with mine. They're young, and we took them out to a few protests. And it is a thing to say that California is a lot safer than a lot of other places when it comes to protesting and being able to voice your opinion. So prayers and much love to your daughter out in Boston doing it over there as well. It's good to teach kids different things and to stand up for themselves. So how I feel about that, having mixed kids and kids that look um, Mexican, black, or just a target, like I say. I, it's a catch-22 because I love it and then I hate it. I love it because I love having kids with different cultures. I love mixing. I love a mix. I think the most beautiful kids are mixed, whatever you want to mix them with, white, black, whatever you want to say. And it's been proven. If you look over it in different areas where they're predominantly the same race, it's a lot more. How can you say? It's a lot more things that happen in the DNA that aren't really good. A lot of more defaults or defects that happen in the DNA. So mixing is really good. It's very scary at the same time because, um, as Javon has experienced, as he told us, and other people will experience, you get hatred from all sides, and it's the dumbest thing ever. I don't respect it. I don't understand it. Um, you're not black enough, or you're not white enough because you're black. Or I have a half black and half Mexican one, and he had a gang fight at his school one time. It was a dumb fight. It was blacks against Mexicans, and he didn't know where to go. And I told him he did right. Don't be in none of it because we're all the same, and I don't understand any of it, so I'm hurt by all of it.
Brother Derek, as someone who has been through the fire yourself, how did that affect the way that you were able to raise your son?
Okay. And hello, Natalie. So good to meet you. I'd heard really good things about you, and you are represented in advance by your marvelous son. And we are very excited about having him as a younger person who is interested in learning and interested in sharing the perspective of young people and the experience of young people. It's just invaluable. So I'm glad to actually be on with you today.
Thank you.
I have three children. You're most welcome. I have three children. All of them have an activist background in one way or another. One I won't talk about only because there's vulnerability currently there. But one has been done a lot of stuff around gang intervention and led and been on the front end of involvement in marches in Virginia, where we had blood or soil. Remember when the when the white anarchists were shouting, Jews will not replace us," and up in Minneapolis when George Floyd was murdered, and quite a few other places. That's the pastor, preacher, activist son I have. And of course, my children saw me in that struggle for their whole existence since I came out of, I was groomed and trained and discipled and mentored by Dr. King's organization, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. So, and by a book, both my books, but my current book is a protest, and it isn't necessarily me being in the streets, but me doing podcasts, speaking in events everywhere I can, and speaking truth to power against the powers that be that are corrupt and that would take our democracy, our independence, our right to free speech, our right to assemble, our birthright citizenship, and would enact an insurrection law on us if we would allow it. So, yes, my kids are all on guard and involved.
Good.
So, Masada, what are your thoughts on today's youth? Now, we've Javon has told us about some of the tactics that they employ using, you know, the different social media platforms and things of that nature. But um, we also see that there is a tremendous mistrust of media. And I want to visit this because to show you, I guess, the power of the media and how it has grown. Uh, when the Vietnam War became the 6 o'clock news, we had protests here in the United States. Wreaked a lot of havoc on us that were over on the other side. But the truth was that America turned against us. Now, we have an organization that routinely usurps the rights of American citizens. But because it is represented by a certain type or persons that of means, it seems that the media now is owned by the person with the biggest pockets. What happened to and Brother Derek, you might be a little bit familiar with more familiar with the people that I'm going to mention, so I'm going to let you start this out. The Chet Huntleys, the Walter Cronkites, you know, the people that really, you know, like caused havoc during my generation and what we were trying to accomplish, which was mostly just staying our ass alive, you know. But as I said, when things came to the American living room, opinions changed. Now things are actually in the living room, on your phone, anywhere you want to put it, and the American people seem to want to do nothing about it.
Well, media has really changed. I think there are still outstanding, as people, particularly people who are anti-media, will call them legacy media. But you know, I'm a journalist. I'm a part of the media, so I have some strong feelings about this. When 20 years ago there was no Fox News as we have it today, we have no ultra right wing media that was significant. I think the first right wing media that I can think of that became prominent was probably Breitbart. But you also have so many. A lot of this honestly changed during the first Trump administration. We went to a place we'd never been to before because Kellyanne Conway, who was more than his media person, she was his, strategist, and this really kind of, you may remember her, skinny blonde haired lady, married to an arch Democrat. But anyway, she came up with the term alternative facts. Now, what the hell is an alternative fact? It's true or it's not. And so you start blurring the lines like that. And another thing that's happened really very strongly these days with media, there are some good aspects to social media, to alternative media, okay? There are, because you see things and find out things that you wouldn't see any other place, because there are people who are in places and we catch people doing things wrong and dirty and other things because of that. However, one real distinction is My undergrad degree, is in journalism. I had to take several ethics classes. Journalism is considered the fourth estate, and no, we were taught to understand that there is a real sacred responsibility and opportunity that went with being a journalist. And so none of these people who just grab a camera or grab a show have had anything like that. And now, that going to ensure that people are going to do the right thing and be reputable and honorable? No, it won't, but at least they won't have an excuse if they aren't. And so I think what you have done then is expanded to where people start saying anything, and there's no validation, no process, no vetting, no fact checking on it. And so people really don't know what to believe. And a lot of that you saw during COVID, and you still see, because people, and now we have the trust that goes, or the mistrust in our government is higher than it's ever been before, because, for example, the CDC's reputation in some ways had become trashed because they were muzzled and couldn't tell the truth. And now, give you an example, 12 of the top 14 people at the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control, which is a standard bearer for the whole world, are not scientists or doctors. They're political people who have a political agenda. And to me, I believe it's to thin the herd and get a lot of people who are vulnerable, let them die. They don't care, because guess what? It doesn't really matter to them. And most of those people are the vulnerable. They're the poor, they're Black, they're brown, they're the elderly, they're the young, they're the uneducated. And, there are parts of our community and parts of the world who that's just fine with. That's collateral damage.
Natalie, how do you feel
Uh,
about it?
well,
Uh,
go ahead.
my so my kids have not been exposed to traditional news. We never had cable. I didn't have it in my house. A lot of it was because it was too expensive, you know. So it was reading. You read the news. That's how I told my kids to get their information. Read the news, and that was when they were like in high school and in middle school when we started having those big conversations, and now I'm a little torn because I know that they do get their news. Nobody in our family will watch CBS, NBC, CNN, any of those. It's all just so repetitive and you can't believe it, and it's it's too hard to watch. It's too repetitive. But what I noticed is that my son gets very biased news, and Juliana a little bit as well. That's my oldest daughter in Boston. My youngest daughter is in school to be a lawyer, so she tries really hard to get both sides, and she's a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, to be honest. But I'm always pushing, do your own research, see what the other side is saying. Look at all the sides, see what all three sides, all four sides are saying from your internet source or whatever your source is, and make your own critical thinking decision on it. What's the common denominator? What is fact? You can look up a lot of facts. I mean, a lot of it's public information, and I've always pushed to them, we actually don't trust the news. I no offense to journalists. I love journalists. My grandma was a journalist as well. But I love real journalists. And I'm on Her News podcast. I don't know if you've heard of that one. She feels like a real journalist to me as well. So my point is that I try to get both sides. As painful as it is to hear some of the things that are said on what I probably would consider the wrong side, I have to hear it, because how can I keep myself balanced in perspective if I don't know what's out there, And so they watch TV, they get news from YouTube. I know that. Jovan watches this one particular show that I love. That's it's a panel of about 10 people, and they ask a question, and it says, if you believe this, come forward. And then they have those 3 or 4 people come forward and discuss it with the opposite idea. And I like that, even though you're not necessarily getting facts, you're getting the concept of what people are thinking, and then you can go research. Are the you know, is that really happening in Gaza? Is this really happening over here in Israel or whatever? And so I'm really big on researching yourself, and that's what I feel. But I have a lot of distrust for media, and my kids do too. But we need it, right? I mean, we need some form of it. I just feel like people need to put the effort in to see all the sides and see, you know, you can shout. Javon's really good at, he's got some really great ideas, and I think he's, of course, he's my son, so I think he's super smart, but he does tend to not want to hear the other side and give it any kind of critical thinking. And I think that's a mistake. So that's where I kind of push that. I don't think you get that on any mainstream media at all. I think it's completely biased, and I don't watch it. So I know my dad watches it, and my dad is a basket case because he's so stressed all the time. And I just turn off your screens. You know, you got to get off the screens and start reading, or turn on your screen for 5 yourself that much, or 10, whatever. So you have to be more in control of what input we're allowing ourselves to get, and then use our.
Hey, James,
Well,
let me jump in for 1 second on that. And that is not to even to disagree, but I would agree that I watch some of everything. Sometimes it's as much as I can stomach of it, but I do. And I would say that if you were looking for the more mainstream, you could consider things like Reuters, like NPR. I would even suggest it. I would suggest that people take a look at the BBC because it's
well.
outside of the U.S. and it's the world's perspective of the
Yes,
U.S. and even Al Jazeera, which is, you know,
I agree. I
from
like
Middle East, and so yeah, so that way you kind of find out what the world
Yeah.
thinks and sees of the U.S. without the filter of the political lens in this country.
Yeah, those are 3 really good sources that I agree with you. I do read those for sure. But the thing about, if you go out and find it, you're not getting bombarded 5 times with the same information than if you're on a cable station. I think that's damaging. But I do listen to those. I listen to podcasts. I read their articles when I can't be in a place with sound. Yeah. But I also have to give myself breaks. I think everybody needs a break from the media. It's just so much, you know? And you can't get away from the mainstream stories. So it's not like we're not getting them. We're just not watching them on CBS. We're getting them from clips on Jimmy Kimmel or, you know, so you kind of get the gist of what they're talking about. Not necessarily facts, but
It's true.
the gist.
no, I mean it's amazing to me the evolution when, you know, like you said, you know, like people now don't have the trust in ABC, NBC, CBS, you know, and those were as
Fox for me, by the way. I did mention Fox, but
yeah.
mostly Fox.
Yeah, James, I would contend, you know, most people probably don't watch any of those. I think the biggest distrust would be against the cable networks,
Yeah.
whether it's CNN, MSNBC, certainly Fox. What's the other one? The one that, oh my goodness. So those which are much more clearly slanted because they're 24-hour news.
Yes.
You know, if you watch the evening news, and I would agree with you, Natalie, you're going to see almost the same story. There's a little bit of maybe a 1 or 2 small stories differently, but they're going to be very uniform. But it's very different if it's a 30-minute show versus if you got 24 hours to fill up, you're going to get every kind of you know, slant going, as opposed to in a 30-minute news segment, you're going to get pretty pure news. I think there's a huge distinction there, actually. And I say that as somebody who's been in this industry for 50 years.
Well, let's go maybe a different way with this. Just as we asked, when did the American people lose control. When do you think we lost control of our media? I mean, do you think? I mean, you have what? Fox News has been sued for what? However many millions of dollars, but yet and still they're still on the air. If that had happened 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that would have been a bankrupt company, and they would have been gone. So, and like we had, maybe what was the old gray haired guy's name? Newt, whatever.
Newt Gingrich.
Yeah,
So yeah.
you had Gingrich and a couple other, right wing programs, and you might have had, a couple of guys on the left, but now, I can probably subscribe to 20 different podcasts, newscasts, whatever you want to call them, on YouTube or TikTok or Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever social media platform you want to go to. But you never have heard the type of pushback on the media and on journalists as we have today. I mean, you have a president that is willing to put uh, memes of other presidents, very hateful and disrespectful memes. You have the actual eradication of alternative, I'll call it alternative history. Uh, and you have a man that says that we no longer need an MLK Day, we need a Donald Trump Day. Now, all of these things to me would have not flown during my generation and what we called news and news agencies. So I blame it on technology and the computer age. And that's not that I'm saying that it's a bad thing, but I'm saying that we get so much bombardment, which I also kind of blame on video games because I think sometimes they don't realize that when the TV goes off, that things become real. They can't just turn it back on like they did that video game. What's your thoughts, brother Jeff?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I would say a couple of things, and I would also tie it to, I give you a comparison, for example, with banking. Okay, Wells Fargo, frankly, is notorious for discriminatory, predatory practices and discriminatory lending. But several of them are, you've taken it, you charge black folk more money, et cetera, et cetera. That happens all the time. Guess what they do? They pay the fine and they go back and do it again. Now Murdoch with Fox News and a few others, they are so big that they paid that fine and they just kept on stepping, James. There have been lots of presidents that have had some level of adversarial relationship with the press, but none like this. This president vilifies the press. He bars them from coming to having access to the White House. That's the First Amendment. 1791, it was ratified as Bill of Rights. And yet he abuses that like he abuses so many other things that we considered as settled law. Now he wants to go back after birthright citizenship, right? He's teetering. He's on the verge of the Insurrection Act, which is a 1700 and something year um, act. He's pulling in the Monroe Doctrine. So I'm saying things that nobody else would ever had ever attempted to do are being done. And what it does, it muddies the waters, and it makes it. He vilifies all kind of institution, and as you said, wants to name everything after himself. And so we're in a place, for example, when I think it was 1901, the last pandemic before this one, you could see people in New York lined up, James, for literally over a mile to get in there and get a vaccination. Why? Because they trusted their government and they trusted their media, that they were being told the truth, that this is something that we need, it's important, and it can save tons of lives. Now, people hear all kinds of stories. And again, the people that are giving you the stories aren't scientists, aren't doctors. We're now at the place where we had eradicated measles. Now measles is popping up all over because people are not getting vaccinated at the level of, I think it's 95% will prevent the disease from restructuring, because you do have that herd immunity. So, but who can you believe? Who can you trust? And I think if you are led by somebody that opens their mouth, lies every time they open their mouth, it certainly, to me, would not be that person. And the people that you put in place, like, for example, Robert Kennedy, who heads up the Centers for Disease Control, never taken a class, a healthcare class. He has no degrees involved with health sciences, medicine, no masters of public health. And so it just throws everything out of whack. And it lowers the trust level. It heightens the confusion level, the mixed messages level. And when most people don't know what to do, they call it the paralysis of analysis. They don't do anything. And that doesn't help. And so I just think that confusion is at the highest level it is. Misinformation is at the highest level we've ever had it. And so people are really, that means that mistrust is also going to be at the highest level we've ever had it. And I think a lot of that, unfortunately, starts at the top.
Yeah. I missed part of the conversation, but one of the thoughts that I had was when I started really paying attention and having some time to analyze it, I remember thinking when Rush Limbaugh came on the scene, what's happening? Like, what is this?
That's
And I
what
feel like that's the first time I remember massive distortion and people really running for him and just loving what he was saying and thinking, what's happening? Like, what's going on? And that was quite a bit before COVID, but then COVID also was like a bump up in that whole situation as well. I think COVID did a number on us in a lot of ways, but Rush Limbaugh and then of course Tucker Carlson, those guys
Yeah.
really did a
Sean
number to our
Hannity.
media.
Yeah.
Yep,
That
Sean
was
Hannity.
that right wing pushback, and there was this populist fervor for that, and it grew, and right wing radio and media has always been far more popular. For one reason or another than left wing media. I
I
don't
know
know
why. I
why.
think it's because it's fear based.
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's
right.
fear
I
based,
think you're
and
right.
people that make decisions on fear want those answers, and they're being fed these answers, and it kind of calms their fear and their anxiety. But the left, I don't feel like has that same
Yes.
level of fear and anxiety about stuff, so they don't need those kind of shows to
I
give
think you're
them answers.
absolutely right. That's a great point. And one of the things, James, let's keep in mind is the reality of it is there is a fear that's being stoked about the other here in our
Yes.
society, whether they're Black people, brown people, Asian people, poor people, LGBTQ plus people. They are going to take over our country, right? Our country, the country
Right.
that white America came in, when I say white America, but the
The colonizers. My kids call
colonizers
them the
came.
colonizers.
They are the colonizers, and that's who they were. They came.
Sometimes it's hard to live in my house.
They didn't discover Jack. They came and took it, and so
Right.
and now they see it as theirs.
Yeah.
I also want to ask you, Natalie, do you think with the different things that have been passed and um, the incompetent people that he has placed in the forefront, do you think that he has taken women's rights back a notch?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All the women he has are looked exactly the same, blonde hair, blue eyes. They're trophies. They're absolutely. I mean, it. You don't want to get me started on the whole "my body, my choice" because
Why not?
I.
That's why I brought you here. We are not censored by any organization that I know of. That's why
Yeah.
I'm sponsored. So you can say what you want on my program.
Well, it makes me very angry that a whole panel, a whole slew of suited up men are making decisions on what I can do with myself. And it's not just abortion. When I say my body, my choice, I really mean it. I am all for immunizations. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but I don't believe you can mandate it for me. It's my body. You don't tell me what I can do about abortion. I'm not for abortion, but I'm for the choice to have an abortion. I'm not for it. I would advise against it, but don't take the choice from me. I don't, who are you to tell me what I can do with my body? My body, my choice. If I want death with dignity, it's my body. Now I'm not saying suicide. I'm just saying we have to have some kind of, you can't decide what I'm going to do with myself. I just, no, and it's not even that. I mean, it's not just that. That's a small part of it. Small part. It's putting women out there as a showpiece and making them say things that are ridiculous, that aren't true, like all of his spokeswomen, that's taking us down a notch. That is so demeaning and degrading for most women to see that on a daily basis coming from his administration. It's horrifying. There's so many things, so many things.
Masada,
I
go ahead. Did you have something else to add, Natalie?
No, I mean, I'm just thinking about all the women that I really respect and love that get demeaned by this man and supported by his administration. Um, all of the women of color that are in Congress or the Senate, in the administration in general, all Democrats mostly that I can think of off the top of my head. There's such a lack of respect. I mean, it's painful. It's painful. And I do not remember that happening during Obama. It, it's just so blatant, and it's the green light to be disrespectful and demeaning. And I, it's painful. It's painful. And Juliana and I had a thing. So Juliana, she's definitely, people perceive her as a black woman. She's mixed. She's half. She's perceived as a black woman. She identifies that way. And she was angry at me because I really pushed women's rights, because I remember when we were required to wear pantyhose to work, and I remember when that changed and the law changed. You can't require pantyhose for your workers. And that was in my lifetime, as well as we got the right to have a credit card. We got the right to file divorce on our own or whatever. My kids, they don't remember that. And that's women. I'm a white woman, so I identify, I'm identifying with the rights of white women, obviously all women in my mind, but she was upset for a while about how, you're so privileged. Why are you worried about rights for white women? But what about all these um, other challenges for people of color? And I do see them. Of course, I'm all for everybody to have what they're deserved, for sure. she thought I was swaying too far on just women in general. And now when she sees what's happening in, the White House and seeing how we are taking steps backwards, she's like, oh, we all need rights, but now it's gender. Now it's not just people of color, it's gender losing their rights, and it's a thing. It's definitely a thing. It's a thing, and I don't know what to do about it. It's not something you vote on. It's the personality of that administration. You can't vote. You can vote them out, but you can't change their mind or their personality. They're that way, and it's frustrating.
This administration and this leadership cadre has disrespected women. And just look at what they did it the first time. Do you remember when the testimony against the Supreme Court justice, who the very credible
Kavanaugh.
psychiatrist, yes, Kavanaugh, and they just brushed that under the rug. And to be honest, I mean, go all the way back to Clarence Thomas and Miss Thomas, if you remember.
Oh
that.
Yeah. Oh, that
yeah.
with Anita Hill, that fried me.
Anita Hill.
I'm not a fan of Clarence Thomas.
And I mean, let's think about the Epstein files. These are white women, 90% of whom girls that have been abused by these rich white, mostly white, but rich men.
Most of those girls look exactly. I mean, they're the same. They're cookie cutters.
When we will allow that to white women in this country, that's just like shooting a white woman in the face, an unarmed white woman in Minneapolis.
Yeah, I mean any woman, but
well, there's a big difference. There's a big difference. I'm going to tell you about how white women, and and black women, just by your daughters, are treated. It is a real difference, because he wouldn't do to white women. He wouldn't castigate them. The women in Congress, Tlaib and AOC and what's her name in Minneapolis, the Somalian, he doesn't do that to white women. He just doesn't.
Masada,
you're right about that.
You've been sitting back there, and
I like to listen as well.
I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here, because you are a member of that entertainment industry that you always excoriate. But this is another genre where I think that it has possibly been also infiltrated and actually, well, I mean,
I'm gonna stop you right there, brother James. I know where you're going. Let me stop you right there. Disclaimer: I'm a product of life. We have to live in this life. Everybody's chasing checks and chasing dreams. I'm living in mines, as in I love music, so I'm in the entertainment industry by default because I chose what I love. I got it lucky and met some people where I was able to write a song, and at the time they didn't have a gatekeeper there, so I got to slide in a little bit. And once the gatekeepers came, a lot of people I know in the industry either died or some mysterious ailment happened or some mysterious legal thing happened. So I ain't got those hookups like that, but I still got a hookup. I've been with you all through all of it except about 2 minutes. I want to go to where we were talking about the media and talking about younger people. I think younger people are brilliant. I think they're very hungry. I think they're very tired and frustrated without seeing accountability. It's like your kids watching you tell them not to do something, and then they watch you do it, and now they don't trust your ass no more because you said it, but you didn't do it.
Grandpa told me to do as he told me, and not as he did.
Yeah, and so that's what's going on.
As I say, not as I do.
Yeah. So when we talk about younger people, they're deprived. They don't have any real leaders. Every leader they see, we're sitting here talking about Trump like it's really him. I hate saying his damn name. It's not one fucking person. And sorry, Natalie, or anybody that's watching, but this is my frustration because we want to talk Democrat, Republican, fuck all of them.
We have an Epstein file that came out, not just white women, not just little girls we're talking about little boys, we're talking about kids in general. And we're still sitting here talking about it's 47 now doing all of this. As I thought when they told us about the Constitution, our democracy, when they teach you about oh man, what is it? Social studies in school. They tell you about everything about how the president doesn't have the power, how he is put there and he's given the power, and the people have the power around him, the Supreme Court, the Congress. So when we're blaming everybody, I don't hear nobody saying nothing about Congress. What are they doing on their asses? What are they doing? If he's violating everything that's in the Constitution, he's violating laws and rights, and it's proven, then why aren't they stepping up? Because if it was anybody else, didn't we impeach a president before? Y'all are older. Wasn't a president impeached for way less?
He's been impeached twice. So we can't. Impeachment evidently is not the.
That's my point. That's my point. We're sitting here talking about him, but it's not him. It's everybody around him who are not fulfilling their roles and their responsibilities as well. They're not holding on to their end. The president is never supposed to have that much power. It's written in documents and laws for him not to have that much power, and nobody is stepping up. So I'm going back to the youth still. The youth are disappointed. They feel betrayed. They feel like I feel. They're dismayed. They're betrayed, and they're disappointed because we're looking at people not being held accountable for their own actions. We're looking at people committing crimes. It started with Rodney King, and then it started with even like a OJ. When people start seeing that you can have money to get off and you can have power to get off of things, and then you got football players killing people, winning Super Bowls. You got all these different things adding up. The kids are looking at it and they're like, hey, nothing here matters anymore. Nobody's living by what they're saying. We are screwed, and it's being shown even more. And January 6th, that was one of the biggest FUs in the world that the younger people said, what are we still doing? Why are we still doing this? Because who's going to hold them accountable? So I believe the young people are very smart. I believe they're very hungry. I believe media, the news reports and all, I do believe you should find different sources and read for yourself and look and think for yourself. I like what Natalie said, what she told her kids. She said she told her kids to go on, when you read it, actually think about what you're reading and then find more research, do more digging. You have to. We're not doing that. So when we talk with the media and we talk about, I don't want to just name one person. It really pisses me off when everybody really thinks this dude has this much power. He only has this much power because the people around him are giving it to him. And when we talk about him disrespecting women,
I can't hear anybody.
Can y'all hear me, Brother James? And
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not sure.
When y'all talk about,
I couldn't hear him.
Can you
sorry
hear now?
about that.
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Good. Well, when
Yeah.
we're
Sorry
talking
about that.
power,
Technical difficulties. Apologize.
you're fine. No, don't be nothing to apologize.
Was there
for.
a
It's not on
question?
you. What's that?
No. He was still. He was giving his kind of summation of what we have been talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just my take on what y'all been talking about, how everybody's talking about the chump. I like to call him chump. He can't do nothing to me. He's 6'2" and he thinks he's big. I'm bigger than that. That ain't it. It's really
All I
weird.
can hear is you.
You can hear me? No, y'all can hear me? Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. So basically,
I can't. You can hear me, but I can't hear any of you except for you, James.
Oh, she can only
Did
hear
you have a
James.
question? I apologize. I came into that in the middle of it.
No, right now we were just listening to Masada. I'm not sure why we'd.
I can
Did he
hear
lose
you,
his?
Brother James.
He
and
lost
her.
the sound.
Yeah, I can hear both of y'all.
Okay.
Well, so basically, it's just let's stop all pretending, because I'm sad and I'm with the youth and with everybody else. There's no leadership taking accountability, and we keep talking about Democrats, Republican, what Obama did, what this happened, what this did. I reminded my people today, if Obama's mad at him, at Jimmy Carter's funeral, when he's sitting there smiling with him, and Kamala looked back at him like, "What you doing? Like what you doing with the enemy?" I guess it wasn't the enemy then. So when we talk about Democrats, Republicans, whoever we're talking about, let's talk about America and the leadership, and let's talk about all of them. It's all of them to blame, and it's right to be pissed about with women, what they're doing with black people, what they're doing with ICE. If we're all tired of this, then what are we all doing? Who's been held accountable when it's the people, the police? It's like the police. Who's policing the police? Who's policing our government? The people who are supposed to be doing their job aren't doing their job, and we aren't doing our job because we're not calling for their resignation. We're not calling for their termination. They're quitting. Other countries ride and kick out all their people. They kick out all their people. So when I say burn it down, tear it down, let's start over, I'm talking to you Democrats because y'all ain't doing shit. I'm talking to Congress because y'all are failing. I'm talking to the Supreme Court. I'm talking the whole diplomacy of the fake diplomacy of America, everybody. That's what I'm talking. I don't want to hear these medias and all this. Everything needs to go, and we all know that. We got 395 pages that say all of them are crooked, and we're still hoping that the cricket is going to judge the cricket. That's not going to happen. We're going to have to do it some way or another. But that's my spill. That's my 2 minutes. That was my 2 minutes. Thank you all, or 3 minutes.
Can you hear us now, Natalie?
I could hear you. I just couldn't hear the other two for some reason. Strange. Yeah, I don't, what do you think should happen? I mean, the Epstein files are massive. Do we just pick, a handful of people at a time and dig deep and prosecute? I mean, how does that, like, it's just so massive. I feel like the massiveness is a distraction. Like
I personally wish that the ladies, the young girls, the women now, I wish they would name names and name times and name places. And that is probably, I don't know if it's going to happen any other way, because you're right, the insulation, the wall to prevent it, these powerful, powerful people. I mean, and they're outing people from, England and Scotland and these other places, but
Right.
You got to take care of home first. And
The thing about it is the women have spoke up.
But have
They're not.
have they named names and places and people?
Yes,
That's a different thing. They are speaking up, but I think you got to get specific.
Well, they've redacted them, so you don't evidently the name.
No, the records, but they know where they were. They know who some of these people. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, you may never get to those. I don't know, because they may bury those. That's like they buried Epstein. It seems like to me, but I'm saying they know who some of these people were. That's all.
Well, I mean, okay, the what Prince Charles or whatever he was,
Andrew.
I thought it was the older one, the one that was next in line. Isn't he the one that had to step down?
That was Prince Andrew.
That was Andrew.
Yeah, he was, I mean, England sort of they mildly took care of him. He's not in jail. But there have been people named in places. It's just so massive. And then it's like, 100 people come forward about the same person and they don't believe him. You don't believe 100 people. I feel like there are details. I don't think we get all those tiny details, but I think those details have been said. I mean, they've given depositions and, I'm guessing they gave the details in the depositions. Maybe you're right. Maybe there aren't details, but I feel like there would be enough details to prosecute some of them. I don't know.
Yeah, the will is there. You're right.
In most courts, you're kind of guilty by association. If I'm hanging out, with Epstein and like flying him on my jet and so forth and so on, on a regular basis, then
I know, but like Oprah Winfrey's been on his jet. I don't, the Queen. There's been a few royal women that have been on his jet that were just. I feel like, just because you're named in the files, you're not guilty by association, because he's trying to get you and get bribery information on you or whatever his motive was. So I feel like that's not enough. You can't just be named in there. It can't be guilty by association. There's plenty of people that were associated in some way that I think were just thrown in there. I know that there were journalists. This is not this the one news person that I really like. Her it's called Smarter News. Her name is in the Epstein files 11 times because evidently you can search to see if your name's in them. And hers is in there 13 times. And it was the 13 times she was invited to events that she never went to. But her name's in the files, so she's going to be investigated. And it's so I think you have to be careful. We have to be careful. I had something that came up. My youngest daughter seems to think Epstein's still alive. That's her theory is that he's alive. And that she just told me that a couple days ago, and it kind of threw a big wrench into everything for my mind. I was like, what? Is that a thing? Is that a possibility? I don't know. So I don't know that we're getting real files. I don't know if I trust the files are real. And they're
Well,
so redacted. Like, what's the point?
see that that's precisely kind of what I was talking about when you question, to the extent that now we have completely gotten to the point of where trust no one is
Yeah.
a better mantra than to trust either one. you know and that's seemed to kind of come full circle and within the period of time that I lived. I mean, you have Republicans talking about, Lincoln freed the slaves and so forth and so on, uh, re- I guess forgetting that anyone else other than Donald Trump doesn't know that the Patriots didn't bomb the British. But we didn't have refrigerators. We didn't have stoplights the last time. Brother Derek, did you know that we haven't had a Democrat win a white majority since 1967? You're
You're
muted.
on mute.
I could not have told you that, Brother James, but that does not surprise me at all. The last I heard, the last white Democrat in Congress represented Macon, Georgia, and he lost about maybe 2 elections ago. The what used to be white Democrats are now Republicans. And that's largely the way it is in this country. You just look around the country and that's just kind of the way it is. I hate to say it. Masada, I'll agree with you that we all have some blame. I don't let young people off as easily as you. And one of the things you haven't heard me say this, Natalie, but I say it every time. I blame my generation a lot for the fact that young people can so cavalierly say, well, to hell with voting and hell with just. And I'm down with starting with the whole new system. I'm okay with that. But till you get to a new system, I think there's a responsibility to do whatever you can to make this system work and to hold it accountable. I don't know if you've been paying attention to this, Masada, but there's a sea change going. People are losing in ruby red districts all across the country. Every day you're hearing it again and again and again. And I'm not saying that's the answer, but I'm saying people are saying what we have is not working. And that's good.
The reason they're saying that, Brother Derek, is let me tell you this, and I'm going to put it in a woman's perspective, whether you like Hillary or you don't. Didn't she win or did she not win? I don't want to hear electoral college or not. I want to hear, did the majority of people vote? Did the young people go out there and say who they wanted?
She won the popular vote. She did win the popular
so let's stop right there. She won the popular vote, right? Young people saw that, they went out, and then they got chumped, right? And that right there was another signal from your days to Brother James' days. I keep telling y'all, it's not just you all, it's all of us. If you see a repeated pattern, I don't know for somewhere between the age gaps, but from my age and down, once we start seeing repeated patterns, we stop. You can't trick me. What, shame on me once, fool me once, shame on me, fool twice, 3 times. We get fooled every election. Y'all keep talking this Democrat and Republicans, but I want to ask you, in what's Democratic era did anything happen great, not good, not pacifying, what anything that really changed for anybody else besides the rich got richer still, and things still happen? Because there are still rewards in Democrats. There's still, right now when we're speaking, what I spoke on, Nelly, I don't know if you can hear me now or not. What I spoke on is what I'm speaking on now. We're talking Epstein files. We're trying to say that this person maybe wasn't there, this person wasn't there. When y'all talk about entertainment, when you talk about politics and government, big money people are still running this government, and we're blaming one person. We're not, I don't care if they had thousands of talk shows and gave away millions of cars and all of this. You have enough money to know what's going on. When you say guilty by association, I know so many black and brown people are in jail right now for a phone call, conspiracy, guilty by association, because they were running with somebody and they knew something because you were with that person. You're not going to tell me that people are all with this big money, all loving each other, all on their news channels, all on their TV shows being friends, and then all of a sudden they're not friends anymore because one turned Republican. But when they were on their show talking that Democrat stuff, they were eating them all up. All these people are the same, and that's what happened to us. We give our trust to them because they could dribble a basketball, shoot one, do a music song or video, a talk show host or whatever. These people are bloodline entwined. I don't care about a Queen Elizabeth or nothing like that. All these people have been having power for decades, and nothing's changed. And nothing's changed. So why am I gonna still beg and keep talking to the people? Hey, I'm gonna still keep voting. Y'all still don't get me y'all 2 choices. And out of those 2 choices, if I pick the choice that you don't want that year, you're still gonna give it to whoever you want. And you're gonna tell me the blue is taking over more majority, Brother Derek. It's still gonna be the smaller states are still gonna have the big electoral college votes who are old white men voting for the favoritism of old white men. And that's what it's always been. And I'm not on no black or no white. I'm on what's right and what's not. And women, they come along with the black struggles and all of this, but it is a division with white women, with black women, with Latino women, and they play us all to not think as women in general. They play us all not to see another woman struggle or another man struggle and to say that it's only the black or it's only this. No, right now it is about economic power, and economic power comes with funding. And right now we're still begging the people who got billions and millions of dollars to give us billions and millions of dollars like it's really going to happen. I don't know what we be talking about. And so I'm for the right of everybody. I'm for women's rights. I'm for women doing what they want with their own body. I'm for the love whoever you want to love. But until we stop talking about Epstein and start talking about the real root of the problem and stop blaming 47 and thinking that he's anything. I mean, the dude's shitting on himself. He you know, like why are we still acting like he has any type of power? We know the powers are whatever families there are, what are people out there with money, and we still giving them a pass. We need to tear down once again Congress. I don't care. I know Congress people. I can call them up right now. They don't like me or not like me. Tear them down. Tear down the Supreme Court. Tear down everything and start over. And what we need to start over with is real candidates and real people. And right now, technology has made it so easy for us to do that, and it's made it so hard for us to do that because, once again, how I started earlier this night, we have too many distractions to too many this and that. If you look up right now about who's leading in anything, it's the person with the biggest check. And until we get rid of that motto and get rid of lobbyists in the DCs and Washington politics, in churches, in the media, until we get rid of the biggest check and buy it and go back to where people had dignity and character, which y'all were talking about these names I can't pronounce, these old, I'm guessing they're old media people. I do remember Walter Cronkite or something. I'm hearing his name or something. But until y'all are getting back to having people not scared to lose their jobs, lose their life, or anything, and other people being accountable, nothing's going to happen. And we can talk and you can say what you would like all day, but I'm here with the young people. I don't think it's the old people. I think it's everyone. And I think until we really start holding people accountable and people start seeing people being accountable, it's not going to happen.
I'm glad we got your final thoughts for tonight, Masada. Now, Brother Derek, now that we got Masada off of his pulpit, can you give us your final thoughts for this evening?
Sure, I'll agree with about half of what Masada said. Quiet as it's kept, a whole lot has changed, Masada. And look,
Yeah.
you think that what do you think it was like in the 50s and 60s? How oppressive do you think it was then? How people, they would just snatch you out your house. They would call you nigga and shoot you and shoot your children and dump you in the river. More things that don't happen today. Now, I'm not saying it can't. I'm just saying, but did we give up? Did we give up? Did we say, oh, I'm going to quit because I didn't win or they cheated me? Hell no, you can't, you can do it, but then this is what you get. And yeah, hell yeah, I blame Donald Trump. Now, is he the only one I blame? No, there's enough blame to go around. But he's done things and is doing things nobody else has done. And because people don't have the balls to challenge him, that's half of it. But yeah, we all have a responsibility. And you spit whoever you spit in the and who says you don't have to just have two parties? Come up with another party. No, it got to be funded. Go to LeBron, go to Jay-Z, go to whomever it is that'll put skin in the game. And it's just money. Then they all got more money than they could ever have. So I don't accept those piss poor excuses. And on another time, 1-on-1, and I've told you before, some real changes that have happened. And I'm not sitting up here as a Democratic apologist because that's not who I am. I got some issues with both parties, but they aren't going in high rises in Chicago and pulling out U.S. citizens in the cold of the night, butt ass naked, and downstairs out in the cold with no clothes on. And also, they aren't shooting people in the face, aren't shooting American citizens. You're supposed to be going there, getting up the criminals, the rapists, the robbers, and thieves. And you're hauling in American citizens and shooting them in the face. Military veterans, all kind of people. So I'm just saying there is a difference. There's a level of cruelty we're seeing and experiencing here we have not seen. I would say in my lifetime, I would say certainly
not seen hasn't been documented. It's been because I'm gonna go back with I'll go to Emmett Till and shit like that with you on that. So it's been. It's just it's happening to different people and cultures now. I'm
not talking about the black people. I'm talking about the white people.
That's what I'm saying. But don't say it's not ever been seen or done.
Not to this level, brother. Not to this level.
Yeah, not to this level to them now. I understand that. It's been done to the white people that helped us out. And
absolutely,
I agree with you 100%.
Absolutely. It is his story, and I know that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying he might as well call you nigga. Or me, nigga, where you put up in 2026, you put a former president up as an ape. You know, I'm just saying. So don't. You can check out if you want to. To me, that's cowardice.
We here.
I don't mean you.
You can check out.
I don't mean you. But to me, that's cowardice and that's BS. But again, I blame, and I say this every time I get on the stage. A lot of that is my generation's fault because maybe we were so excited to be the first generation to get to go to college anywhere you wanted, live basically where you could afford it. And so maybe some of that was the pain of seeing our families.
It's a game of chess. Y'all did what y'all needed to do and y'all helped. And then they figured out that, and the game was they gave everybody more money. They figured out, okay, we can't stop them this way. They did it this way.
But you can't be bought like that, Masada. You still got to teach your people.
You can't. We can't. But there are people who are being bought. When you talk about
absolutely, but guess what? That's how you subdue people, right? So if you give in to that, then that's what you get.
They played the game right. They gave us talk show people that can give away cars and go build schools somewhere else instead of doing it here or doing it where they from, which is one of the poorer states, and we celebrate them. What are we celebrating? What are we celebrating?
So she's not doing anything in
no, not just her. No, I don't care about people's names. The same time
I didn't call any names.
I know.
But it's clear what you said.
I love everybody. That's all I'm saying. But the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Well, if you call them out, bro, call them out.
Hold on.
Right?
The Cleveland Cavaliers won the championship, right? They won the championship for the first time. The same time that a little kid got killed. And nobody said nothing, but everybody came out to celebrate, and people were standing up like this with their arms, with the whole Ohio out, while a little kid got gunned down with a toy gun. But nobody said anything the week later because they won the championship. So what are we talking about? When I am talking, Brother Derek, I'm speaking just like you. I'm not blaming just Republicans, Democrats. I'm not shitting on everybody. I'm saying in social studies, they said that the Democratic Party and Republican Party, they're opposing each other, so nobody has total control. Even if one has total control of the House, the president don't. We have laws and bills in place to fortify real righteous stuff, and nobody's being righteous. And when we have all these $1 million people, anybody, $1 million people, and you can win a championship and the whole Ohio State comes out and supports, you want to say monkeys? They support LeBron James and all these black basketball players that won the basketball championship, and yet in their same town, in that same week or same 2 weeks, a little 11-year-old got gunned down and nobody gave a damn. All they cared about was a championship. And you gonna tell me?
Hold on.
I'm not meeting the majority
because I'm not a LeBron fan. But the week that Tamir Rice got killed, LeBron paid for the family's funeral. He had his, he did what a guy. That's what I'm talking about. I got $500,000 or I got $1 billion. I pay for a $20,000 funeral and I went to hold on now. What about the school that he has, the charter school that he has, especially?
The brother's done a lot.
Listen, I'm not knocking anybody that done a lot. Everybody has something to do.
But I'm saying you're misrepresenting Ohio because, and I'm like I said, I'm not a LeBron fan.
You can't put everybody in that same boat, Masada. But that's a mischaracterization.
Listen, I got to clarify this real quick before we get on this. When I mention anybody that's popular, anybody with money, anybody with status, they don't owe anybody anything. If you want to say that, they don't owe anybody. They don't owe Martin Luther King anything. They don't owe Malcolm X anything. They don't owe. This is Black History Month. They shouldn't celebrate any goddamn Black history because if those people were alive and those people said the same thing I said, y'all wouldn't be telling these people, yo, they did this, they did that, they did this, they did that. Because I'm pretty sure when Malcolm then was talking to Martin and everybody was talking to each other, they gave their skin. Fuck skin in the game. They gave their lives. So when you're telling me somebody did something, I'm not knocking the brother. Listen, I support everybody that's made it and doing something great. I'm not telling them to do nothing with their money, nothing with their lives. Every little program they got is good, but you're not going to pacify me. It's just like nonprofits and everything. If y'all want me to speak, I'm going to speak. We pacify people and we let people pacify us, and that's good enough for us. It's good enough that they did this little bit. It's good enough that they did this little bit. What happened when Jim Brown and we talk about the 76 or whatever they did over there? What if they just did a little bit? Just because you do a little bit. What if Muhammad Ali said, you know what? Fuck Vietnam. Fuck all that. I'm a box, but I'm gonna go and pay for veterans, 1,000 veterans, or I'm gonna start this. He wouldn't be Muhammad Ali. So I'm not knocking anybody. I respect and love what everybody's doing. If y'all really want to get into that, what they're doing with schools and all that, we can talk about that later because I know personally people from Ohio, from that area. I know little kids from that area that if you get bad grades, you get to go to a water park and all that. And their little sister is a smart ass kid and don't get shit from that scholarship. So what it's doing is a lot of scholarships are teaching kids to be dumb and do just that, what they did with President Bush, pass all kids, no kid left behind. And so now kids are purposely failing because they get honored with a LeBron James scholarship or whoever the fuck else you want to name scholarship, so that they don't have to do nothing. So while they're pacifying, giving out bicycles, giving out this, giving out that, could they not go back to their hometown and buy that block and make a Tulsa, Oklahoma, make a Tulsa, Ohio, wherever the hell you want to say, and really do good stuff? That's all I'm saying. I'm not knocking anything they do. We have so many individuals doing great things, and that is good. But if we always are going to blame, we're going to blame Trump, and you're going to say Trump and blame one person, I can tell you good things he did. I can tell you some good shit. He pardoned a black woman, gave her this and gave her that. Are we going to excuse him for that? Because he's done a lot of good things too.
So he hasn't done a lot of good things. He may have done.
No.
He hasn't done a lot of. He's done so much construction.
Y'all get what I'm saying? I'm not.
Excuse me, gentlemen. We have a young lady here that.
Yeah, Masada cut me off. So you're not gonna let me finish because Masada jumped all in my Kool-Aid.
Man, y'all giving people passes. Y'all know.
I'll be quick. No, I didn't give anybody a pass, and I don't give past these people who are making this mega money, because you do owe something to Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and a whole lot of other people. And that's just my opinion, and we know everyone has them, just like the other thing, right? So, but yeah, I do think there's an obligation we have if you make it and you do it on the shoulders of somebody else. I do. I believe that wholeheartedly. And so I'll pass it on.
Natalie, you get kind of caught up there in between all of our testosterone, but yeah,
it's okay. I love hearing the perspectives, because I'm not often in a group of three men of color that are very different in your perspective, and I appreciate that a lot. I'm enjoying the conversation. I have to agree with both of you. I do think that first of all, I don't believe in the party system. I think it makes people lazy and they want to vote along party lines without knowing the issues. And so things get passed that shouldn't get passed, and people get in that shouldn't get in. Do I blame Trump? No, I blame all the people that voted for him. That's what I blame. I blame Congress. And the thing I do not agree with you is this is very different. This is not the same as it's been. I'm 58 and I'm an independent because I believe I vote on issue by issue, but I lean left with humanity and rights, and I lean right with sometimes military and sometimes financial. But it's issue by issue, and this situation there's no checks and balances. There's always been checks and balances. This is a situation with no checks and balances. The guy completely disregards the justice system. Nobody's calling him out. Everybody's afraid. Everybody's making a bank on the guy. And so their pockets are getting huge, and they're afraid of losing their power, really. It's really power, right? They love the power. They're afraid to lose the power and their money. So this is something I have never seen before in my lifetime. I can't even believe we're here. I don't know how this happened. I think it's fraud. I don't think he should be in there. I think that was all fraud. But anyway, I do think that our generation has a responsibility to keep the motivation up for the younger people and teach them how important it is to stay in the game. They got to stay in the game. Now, my kids stay in the game a little differently. Javon registers as Republican because he thinks it's going to throw off the numbers if thousands of people vote Republican and give him a false sense of security. And then he votes Democrat. He registers Republican, votes Dem. Whole movement of that online. That's their thing. That's one of their little, they can do that. I mean, as long as you're voting for the right way, it doesn't matter to me. I don't like the party system. So I just want to, I support what a little of what each person on this panel has said. But this is not normal. This is not normal. I saw this coming when he got in a little bit, but nothing like this. This is wrong. I mean, this is this is lawless. We have masks men in the streets pulling little kids out of their homes. And I don't say that to minimize what happened during Jim Crow and all that. I mean, you know, you go through life and every decade you think it's going to get better and you just really want it to be better and better. This is like horrible. This is going way backwards in a different direction. And so um anyway, that's how I feel about it. I don't know about like revamping the system. I'd like to know your thought. I would love to have a podcast on that and see what your ideas are on that, because my kids talk about that, like tearing it all down and starting fresh. But that to me is a little dangerous because it depends on who's in there starting the freshness. Like, who are we going to have do that? You know? So that makes me a little bit nervous. I'd rather tweak what we have, get rid of the electoral system and, go with popular vote. That's my theory. But anyway, that's how I feel about it. I don't feel as doomsday as far as like the young people. I think the young people are fabulous. I think they're smart. I think they're energized. I think they're fearless. All of our kids went to school, having drills on shooters. So they're not afraid. They've been trained. They'll go right up and protest, or I mean, I'm not for insurrection, but I am for making things right. And if it means physically, then I think the younger generation has it in them. Maybe not all of them, but the ones that I know that I'm associated with, I feel like they're on the right track. They're for humanity, and I think that's what we need. So that's the end. That was my rant.
uh, Usually I don't have a lot to say after the show, but I have a problem when I went to school, we were worried about going to the bomb shelter. We were worried about the A bomb. We were. I cannot recall any time in my lifetime having a shooter drill in my school. And I think when we have gotten to that point where our children are fair game, our women are fair game, whether they be black, white, whatever, I think, like you said, these are much different times.
Yeah.
I seriously entered the podcast business during Trump's first term, and I couldn't believe that. So you can imagine how I feel now. At the age of 79, I've seen many, many changes. But even this, I think, surpasses the Jim Crow era, when American citizens are being shot down by people, by masked, uninformed, and untrained men.
Yeah.
But I thank everybody for joining us tonight, and I look forward, Natalie, when we do have that show and talk about some alternatives, we'll be sure and bring you back. And I would also like to have your daughter back on the show. I know it's been a while. I didn't know that she had went from she really went from one coast to the other.
Yeah.
Literally,
Yeah.
from Berkeley to Harvard, right? I mean, I wonder what kind of what Trump is going to call her education. Jeez.
Right. She works there. She's not actually attending Harvard. She's working in a lab.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She's not attending.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But,
And it's
yeah.
different. She says it's a little pretentious over there. That was her word. Yeah. So I'll talk to her. She probably wouldn't mind participating as well.
All right, Masada, come on back on here now. You and Brother Derek then muted each other.
No, I haven't. I just want everybody to know that I'm here. I'm open. So being on here, Natalie, thank you for coming. Everybody has their opinions. I have my thoughts. I am different in the sense of I want to hear everybody else's thoughts and then put them all together and form the greatest thought together.
Yes.
And that's what I want. So thank you for being on here. Thank you for listening to us. Thank Brother Derek. Thank Brother James. I don't disagree with anything anybody said. I have my own different things with it, with the Jim Crow and the deaths. I don't want to look at it and be like, oh, it's more of an atrocity now because it's happening to white people, because it's happening to Americans, because that's telling us that when they had the Tears of Trails, that didn't count. When they had not past Jim Crow, when they were burning and lynching and taking out Black Panthers' houses and the little kids there and the people there, I don't want to hear that it's just now happening now. What's happening now is we have more access to it, and it's not easy. It's not as easy to hide. So, people who are watching this show, anybody from any big name or anything, let's talk. Let's figure out what we could do together. I'm not against anybody.
Can I just say something? I'm sorry to interrupt, but you had mentioned a couple times that now this is happening to white people. As a white woman, I don't see it that way. I see this is happening to Latinos and people of color. So I'm a little taken back that you see it as now that it's happening to white people, because to me it's happening to Latino people and people of color.
Yeah, well,
so I appreciate that perspective.
Well, they count the lady who got shot as she looked white. She looked white.
She's one person, and then the nurse.
Yeah.
But there's hundreds of others that are not white.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's an atrocity, but people are making more of it now because they're saying that, oh, now they're doing it blatant to white people and all that. And I'm like, even in your time when I held this up, they killed Kennedy. They killed a white president, and nothing happened. And so with that, I just wish we all listen to each other. We all can talk. I don't blame just the Democrats or Republicans. There does need to be something, but if we all come together, that's all I would like for us to do, everybody. So when y'all hear me and y'all hear my passion, it's because we're tired of the same rhetoric. We're tired of the same help us change the world. Let's do it all together. I love everybody. Light and love to the world. Peace to everybody. And actually hear people when they're talking. If they talk about something you don't like or someone you don't like, listen to what they're saying, because they might not be dissing or dogging that person. They might not be saying that person's not doing what they should be doing. I'm not anyone to say nobody's not doing enough. I'm saying together, including myself, we all aren't doing enough. And if Trump is getting together, if y'all want to say it's him and his little money player people, I want to say the opposite then. Where are our money player people? Because there's billionaires on all sides. They're billionaire Democrats, billionaire Republicans, billionaire independent. They're billionaire everybody nowadays. So love and light, man. Love and light, Love and light.
Love and light.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. And I look forward to talking to everyone next week. Have a great evening, everyone.
Peace, James. Send me that information if you would, bro.
Okay.
Okay.
I definitely will.
Drop that check. All right. Love you all. See you next time.
Thank you. Nice
Black
to meet you
people
guys.
are not a monolith.